Welcome everybody to High and Low, a podcast about talking picture shows.
We do films that are corny, some that are horny, some that win Academy Award.
Doing all kind of movies from all kinds of genres, serving hot cakes like plates of lasagna.
Before we get going, a warning to you, you might hear some talk that's a little blue.
We sometimes cuss and we sometimes curse. We like to do it off the cuff and don't rehearse.
Now, if this sounds like your kind of show,
Tune in,
Drop out,
this is High and Low.
Anybody want some tea? There's hot water on. This movie is tea. Is that a thing kids say?
This movie,
Or is that just like your body? I see that lots. It's like, oh my god, her body is tea.
Oh, really? I never heard it
seen that
way. I always heard like spill the tea, like dish the
Jesus.
the gossip.
Barfing.
Excuse me, I'm spilling the tea.
Hi-ya! Welcome back to the High and Low podcast. We're talking war and karate dojo movies this week. Last week on the High, we did The Karate Kid, where we saw Daniel San LaRusso overcome the Cobra Kai. Now we're talking about 1981's The Instructor, written and directed by Don Bendell, starring Bob Chaney himself as the titular instructor. I'm Vonn Gonziola. Joined with me, as always, are my warring karate dojo partners, Luke Slowbot.
Hiya! Hello.
And Mitchell McIsaac.
Not bad, kid, but let's see you dodge this one.
Hi-ya! Where'd you get a ninja star from?
I'm gonna beat that turd.
I want a trophy. Maybe I'll get a trophy, and then the girls will talk to me.
And if they don't, I'll punch them.
I don't like him.
These are all lines from the movie.
Yeah, so this movie, I first came across it when I was going to my local movie store, The Lobby, and this was on the new release shelf, and I just had to rent it because it looked amazing. And Vinegar Syndrome just put out a new beautiful Blu-ray, probably a 4K restoration somewhere along the way, but a Blu-ray restoration is what I saw. You guys seen this movie before, or is this your first kick at the can?
I have not. And yeah, somebody was pointing out that, was it James Cameron did the cover art for this movie?
Yeah, he did the original cover art.
It's like a really fancy oil painting thing. This is a classic trick with B movies, Z grade movies, where you'll have like a really kind of cool looking cover.
Unrelated cover art.
Yeah.
That's like a kick-ass ninja flying through the air.
Yeah, it's this shredded guy wearing a ninja mask, doing a jump kick, kicking some guy riding a motorcycle in the helmet, and just shattering the face shield.
Yeah, sweet.
Which sort of happens in the movie, except the guy doesn't look amazing doing it.
No, he kind of looks like Ron Jeremy.
Yeah.
Based on real fictional events that almost happened in this movie.
This cover art, yeah.
I know nothing about this movie.
There's a long interview on the Vinegar Syndrome Blu-ray with Don Bendell.
Oh, the Don Bendell.
The
Thumper himself, or whatever his name is?
Thumper Rhodes.
Yeah, Thumper Rhodes.
You mean writer-director of The Instructor, 1981? that Don Bendell.
Yeah, Bob Chaney is the instructor, and he ostensibly knows karate.
He does. He was a karate teacher and a karate champion. Now, Don Bendell is the director, writer, producer. He's the guy who, this was his idea, was to make this movie about his karate instructor.
Okay.
And this guy had a studio in Akron, Ohio, where the film is filmed and set.
Nice.
I say film because this is high art. The interesting thing about this movie is it's made without irony by the seams of it. Like, if you ask Don Bendell, he really just wanted to make this movie where he could show off how great his karate instructor is.
Yes.
And how great his town is. And everybody came together in this small city of Akron to make this movie.
Sort of like an American movie type thing where the whole community's coming out to help this guy on this project. And
he struggled to get funding. He got ripped off by people. He ended up getting a bit of money together and then losing it all and then getting money together again. And, he hired a handful of Hollywood people, like stunt people and stuff. And they showed up. They were fucking hammered. This guy, Don Bendell, he was a ex-Army or Marine, I think. Definitely a man of faith. just by all accounts, a very wholesome individual. Yeah, he fired those guys on the spot for being undisciplined, and everybody else in the town stepped up, and they were like, let's make this fucking movie. We don't need those Hollywood assholes.
Yeah,
Like,
I'll wreck my car for the weekend.
yeah, exactly. I'll fly.
Throw me through a table.
Exactly, and that's what they fucking
Yeah.
did, and that's what actually makes this movie pretty cool.
It's like Be Kind Rewind, that kind of community filmmaking.
Yeah.
It's super, you can tell it's low budget. It does some things really surprisingly well for a movie of this budget. I thought, like, it actually has some, like, pretty sweet car chases and fights. And
There's a 20-minute car chase at the end of the movie, and it's
Yes.
impressive.
I think William Friedkin would be proud of that car
Yeah.
chase.
Yeah.
French Connection.
Pretty fucking good.
Eat your heart out.
The karate is at least as good as anything we see in Karate Kid, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but this isn't a guy.
These guys aren't showy. Like, they don't. It's not like Jean-Claude Van Damme or Steven Seagal, like guys who know how to make martial arts look amazing on film. But
yeah,
these
it
guys
doesn't look good on camera.
you can tell they know karate. A lot of them do. At
Yes.
least.
Every shot feels very intentional. There's not really like a natural great flow to the action, but there is some, like, you feel some impact from the hits, which goes a long way, I think, in a karate fight.
This is an amateurish, zero budget movie. It has about 700 plus logs on Letterboxd,
Yeah.
so not a lot of people have seen it, and it's not easy to find. There is a crappy version on YouTube that is available for free.
Yeah.
Mitch and I wrote a script for a movie a while ago, and this is it. The finished product would have been like, this is what I
Yes.
aspired to make when we were
I
doing
know.
it. Like this is what I don't know about you, what I
This
wanted to
is
look
that
like.
level. Yeah.
It even
This
has
shit is
a
goofy as hell, but like it does inspire you to want to make
Yeah.
a movie with your friends, doesn't
yeah,
it?
write a cheesy theme song.
And like,
Yeah.
I think importantly with this movie, it's almost like they just were like, do we need a plot, or can we just do every badass moment in a martial arts movie? Like, can we just have like every scene be a bully getting his comeuppance or something like that? Like, just take all the badass stuff, get rid of all the filler. Like there is a plot.
You got to make your
But-
leading guy be tough and sensitive. So every scene is just him being one of those two things.
Yeah, I think the
Exactly.
movie's a little saggy in the middle. It's not a particularly long runtime,
Yeah.
but I mean, it starts off strong and it ends really fucking strong.
Really, yeah.
And somehow, as straightforward and simple as the plot is, it did manage to like kind of confuse me a little bit at a certain point. But we'll sort that all out as we get.
That's
go
by
along.
design. It is an amateur effort that works. At the end of the day, it works, but there's a lot of little amateur charms sprinkled throughout it quite liberally. And
Yeah.
I love it for that because they did it. They got together and they made a movie.
This is one of those movies that I feel like you could bust out at any bad movie night or something, and just like it would be pretty impossible not to have fun watching it. Like it's
I think most people would be charmed.
it's super entertaining. It's cheesy. It's B grade. It's undeniable what it is, but
It's lower than B grade. Like Switchblade Sisters is B grade.
yeah. Oh yeah.
This is
This is a guy with a VHS camcorder in his backyard.
to say
Great.
Robo War is like C or D grade.
Yeah.
This is like well below that.
There's no Omega 1 in this.
RoboWar had boats. Okay, so the movie opens.
Now, yeah, it opens with Shapiro Entertainment Corporation. That's who they ended up getting to distribute the movie, and they demanded some reshoots in the beginning. Yeah, so basically this first scene, a lot of it is reshoots. They were like, we got to get you back probably for reshoots, Bob, to Bob Chaney.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Bob Chaney's like, I'll be fine. And then he went and fought in a karate tournament, and he like ruptured his spleen.
Oh, Jesus.
So they've got a guy in a Bob Chaney costume, basically,
That's so
doing half of these things. The
Yeah.
producers were like, we need more violence up at the beginning. We need to like have these gang scenes and like have some real street toughs get beat up.
They were right.
Yeah.
100%. That
Kinda, yeah.
Which I didn't notice the first time I watched this, because I did watch the YouTube version, which does, I think it's replicating a little bit what it would be like to watch this movie if you had glaucoma. It's very blocky. It's not the nice Vinegar Syndrome cleaned up version.
No.
But it's funny to think that this movie had studio notes.
Yeah, that's actually insane. Now that you
I mean, they
mention it.
fought so hard to get any kind of distribution for it.
Yeah.
Finally, they got some nobody studio
Yeah.
to do it, and they're like, we'll do it. But we have a couple notes.
I mean, that's one of the fun things too. Even listening to like Bruce Campbell's autobiography, they're talking about how they're going around with Sam Raimi trying to shop Evil Dead to all these like indie low budget distributors and stuff. And there was just like this whole industry, sub industry below Hollywood and everything.
We'll peddle your smut.
Yeah, we'll show this in a drive-through somewhere, in a drive-in theater somewhere, and make our $100 off it. Yeah, why not?
Yeah, so it opens on an eagle flying and screeching through the air.
So majestic.
And a close-up on a ninja's face. Title card, Bob Chaney is the instructor.
Hell yeah. Don't know what this ninja's all about, but we know that Bob Chaney's the instructor.
Yeah, and it's kind of a misplaced card because you just suspect maybe that's Bob Chaney, the ninja, but no, it's just some ninja prowling through the woods.
In the middle of Ohio.
To a cheesy, cheap score, like synth score.
Yeah, and we find out that Bob Chaney is actually going for a little jog. Bob Chaney...
He's wearing the jogging outfit that he wears all movie.
Yes.
Yeah. Some kind of Adidas or a Puma,
tracksuit.
Something. Yeah.
This guy's ready. He's limber. He's ready to rumble at any minute.
Always ready for action. No monkey suits. No cravats.
No jeans like Chuck Norris.
No, he wears a suit at one point, and aside from that,
Oh,
it's
that's
all...
right. And he fills that suit out nice.
So it's these two fellas jogging. It's him and it's Don Bendell, the director, as Thumper.
Thumper Rhodes. And Bob Chaney's character name is the instructor. He doesn't have a name.
Yeah, badass choice.
Yeah, and I don't even think they ever refer to him as the instructor. It's always like master or something like that.
Yeah, sir, master, sensei, whatever they're calling him.
One thing about this movie is that everybody has the same mustache in it. There's a couple of different types going on here. You've got like the director, Don Bendell. He kind of reminds me...
shitty mustache.
They've all got shitty mustaches.
Yeah. Mustaches are in full effect.
And Don Bendell, the director, who plays kind of Bob Chaney's sidekick throughout the movie, he sort of looks like a Frank Zappa to me. He's got like a Zappa thing going on.
He talks more like a Muppet.
Yeah.
But he looks a little bit like Zappa.
He's sort of got that ectomorphic, a little bit of a longer...
like a waspy
type.
Zappa.
Yeah.
Zappa's a little too Mediterranean looking.
Bob Chaney, he's a little more compact. He's like he's like a spring just waiting to uncoil.
Yeah, he looks kind of like a chubby Burt Reynolds with a really bad haircut.
Yeah.
And a lot shorter.
And a lot shorter.
A little like a hedgehog.
Yeah, like a hedgehog. Like Ron Jeremy.
Like Ron Jeremy.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the hedgehog.
He's genuinely funny looking.
His mustache, it looks like if you go to a good costume store and ask for a Mario mustache or maybe a Luigi mustache, it's like thick and bristly and very full.
Everybody in this movie looks like my dad in the 80s. That's why at first I thought this was a Canadian movie. I didn't realize it was an Ohio movie, just because everybody in here looks like a Canadian dad from the 80s. They've got the same mustache, the same haircut.
Ohioans, they're just like us.
Yeah.
Ohio's the Canada of the United States, I think. So Chaney and Rose, they're going for a jog, and we kind of get some dialogue. There's multiple stories going on throughout this short movie, and it's all just dropped in these little bits of throwaway dialogue. I guess Rhodes' wife is pregnant, and the baby's due soon. It's going to be a boy or something like that.
Real labyrinthine plot.
Yes.
Yeah. There's a lot going on, a lot of moving parts.
You have to be a karate master to navigate it. So we're not even on them for like 2 seconds before there's a smash cut to a rail yard gladiator fight. Like there's this woman fighting this guy. They both got trash can shields. They've got like a flail and like a knife.
They're a third-rate Mad Max gang.
Yeah, she's got a fucking battle axe. Right. She's swinging that. What is happening?
There's maces, there's battle axes, there's also just pieces of driftwood.
Don't worry, it's never explained.
No.
Yeah. They're having a fight. And we spend some time with these guys. And so this she's making a fool of this guy, and this tall guy with the mustache comes out. He's the leader of the group. Mm-hmm. He comes out, and he's
got the finest mustache.
He's got a vest on, like he was kicked out of the Warriors 20 years ago. Yeah. And he's like, well, I wound up in Ohio, and now I'm just running my trail, my rail yard gang.
He's a good looking guy. I thought he looked a lot like Ryan Stanger.
Interesting.
cut that out, but he looked just like fucking Ryan Stanger.
I saw a picture. I concur.
Yeah, he's the woman. He's the biker babes old lady.
He's got that psycho energy. He's kind of like the toe cutter from Mad Max or whatever. He's like, this is my gang.
I'm the biggest lunatic here.
We do violence here.
He's acting big, and Cookie, the woman here, she's acting big.
Yeah, they're a good match.
Don Bendell just met her making this movie, and then she ended up marrying him. And she became a huge hand in this movie, an associate producer.
Nice.
But he's like, she's wonderful on film. She brings so much energy to the picture. He's right. I mean, she's one of the better actors in this.
But definitely the best actor in this group. She's got that
this whole
crazy
Mad
energy.
Max gang of villains is like, it would have been interesting if they continued on. They kind of get dropped pretty quick here, but
There's no bearing on the story.
They're a very compelling group of weirdo villains who have that psycho energy that makes for a very watchable B movie villain.
They're smoking joints and drinking beer.
Yeah.
So you know they're bad news.
Being evil.
Cookie's got the best of this chump, and she's just making a fool of him, emasculating him in front of everybody. Mr. Warriors doesn't like that very much. He's like, cut that out, cut that out. Then they go and they kind of start getting real hot and heavy in front of everybody.
Yeah.
All this violence has turned her on.
And I don't think it's a stretch to say that Cookie has taken this man's penis that she emasculated on the ground here.
Save it for later. And so now he lays down the law. Everybody listen. No one fight each other again. From now on, we do our ass kicking on other people. Got it?
Oh, yeah. This is his
And then
Cyrus
this other guy
moment.
comes up out of nowhere. Oh, who put you in charge? And this broad. And he's like, shut up, Mike.
He's like,
Now you listen to me, Mike. I'm the boss of this group.
Can you count, sucker?
Don't never bad lip my woman again, Mike.
Bad lip my woman.
Bad lip.
These guys have the best slang. They're like Frank Miller gang members from like Dark Knight Returns, where they're just like, I ain't shivved. Like, I don't shiv over nobody. Don't never bad lip my woman. Just any kind of weird random slang.
So they just have a standoff, and Mustache Guy pulls out one of those knives that has a handle that's like brass knuckles, where your fingers go through it.
Yeah, those are sweet.
And he reaches up and cuts off a lock of Mike's hair, and he's like, nice ball spot, Mike. Take that. And everybody laughs at Mike, and that settles that.
Yeah. We know who's in charge. There's a power couple in charge of this rail yard gang. But we'll get back to that later, because now we're going back to the jogging.
And the ninja's spying on these guys as they're jogging. The
Yeah.
Instructor and Thumper.
The ninja's hiding in a tree,
Yeah.
watching them run by.
And the Instructor's having more flashbacks about his wife as Thumper's bringing it up. He's like, hey, remember how your wife Debbie got raped and murdered? You know, when Debbie died? When she was raped and murdered?
I try not to think about that too much, Thumper. Who's the bad guy in this one? Hart. I can't believe that I can't believe Bud Hart was behind that. No, we don't know that, Thumper. And we find out that Bud Hart is a bad guy. People don't like
Definitely
Bud Hart.
raped and murdered his wife, which
Yeah.
is so extreme for this
It's
movie.
But Chaney doesn't want to hear of it. He's like, he doesn't want to be aggressive. He doesn't want to fight. He wants to let bygones be bygones. It's like, why you always got to talk so bad about Bud Hart?
All he did was raped and murdered my wife. It's not so bad once you get to know him.
Yeah, let's give him a second chance. They come up, they come upon some children playing soccer, and while this is happening, the ninja sees all, breathing all heavy, got his
Yeah.
Michael Myers breathing going on.
He's a creep. He's in broad daylight. He's peeking out from behind every tree. He's a regular pervert.
Yeah, he's picking his nose, too, in one of these shots.
Yeah. That's gross.
And that's your first hint that maybe this guy isn't...
There's more to this ninja than meets the eye.
Yeah. More than meets the eye.
Come with me, ninja. Josh, Brent, how you guys doing? I've been practicing my karate a lot, sir. Me too. Well, maybe you guys will get to brown belt one of these days.
Yeah. They're kicking ball with the kids.
Yeah, they're just great guys, stand-up guys. All the kids love him.
Yeah.
He's a local hero.
Yeah. And then they run away. They carry on in their jog.
Well, see you later.
And Instructor stops and he's like, I got bad vibes. I had bad vibes once before. And Thumper's like, when your wife was raped and murdered?
When Bud Hurt raped and murdered your wife?
Okay, so he did have a wife who was raped and murdered.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really but
The details of these plot points got a little lost on me.
they don't really bring it up much after this. They lay it on really heavy here, and it's
in
a bit
the
hard to
end.
hear the dialogue.
You see these flashbacks of a woman who must be his wife, but he's also got like a daughter, right? Who he spends time with. And he's like, I like to spend time with Terry.
that's his
I
love
don't think
interest.
so.
Okay. Interesting.
So the ninja pops out, and he's got a fucking knife drawn on these kids. And the two biggest kids, they're like, what do you want, you punk? And they just fucking high kick this guy. They drop his ass on the ground. They fucking kick him again and again.
Some ninja.
They take his mask off, and he's this dopey looking guy.
Yeah.
And he's like, why, you little slut? To the kids.
I was just funning with you, you little slut.
I was just funning with you.
This guy's bad news. He should not be anywhere near a playground.
Man, this guy should... Man, I believe you'd get your fucking killed in Ohio doing
Yeah.
something like that.
This is what I look like when I was doing karate.
Menacing children.
Getting beat up by kids.
Oh, yeah.
I was just funning with yous.
So we can tell now that this guy's the town simpleton, I guess.
Yeah.
By the way, he's the director's real life older brother,
Okay.
who he obviously wanted to just clown on and be the joke of the movie.
This is the guy in town who he's a problem, and somebody needs to make him
He
go
is
away,
a problem. He's violent.
Somebody's got to
He's
disappear
dangerous.
him.
He's a psycho.
He's hanging around the kids.
And he's getting dunked on by kids, and he's just got a real chip on his shoulder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's just a matter of time until something bad happens with this guy. This is where all the town folks need to get together and make a lynch mob, a vigilante
Yeah.
posse.
Good old fashioned.
Take care of business.
So the instructor and Thumper come up. The ninja just takes off, and they chase him, and they wind up in the rail yard where all these hooligans are now. They've stopped fighting. They're having a good old time, having some drinks, having a party.
One
Yeah.
thing that's weird here is they come up upon these guys. Well,
Yeah.
Thumper comes out.
It's a
and
genius
somehow he
plot.
lost the instructor by like a good couple minutes. Because Thumper comes across the rail yard party, and that simpleton ninja is on top of Cookie. All these men are standing around them, and they're cheering, and it looks like she's being sexually assaulted. So
Yeah.
Thumper immediately comes and fucking boots the ninja guy in the face, and they're like, oh, we're just fucking around. And then everybody starts kicking Thumper's ass.
It was all a ruse. They faked this scenario where Cookie could pretend she was being raped in order to ambush the
I don't know
martial
if they
artist.
planned. I don't think they knew Thumper was coming.
It wasn't quite like a
I think
Rumble in the
it
Bronx
doesn't-
scenario.
it doesn't make sense.
I think
Trying
they
to
were
trick,
just.
though.
I think they were just trying to humiliate that guy.
Okay, they were like, hey, why don't
Yeah,
you...
have some fun
You
with
like
Cookie.
Cookie?
Ha,
Cookie
ha.
likes you. She thinks you're cute.
I think that's what it was.
Cookie could destroy him at any moment.
Yeah.
She's badass.
Yeah.
So yeah, he kicks a couple more of the guys, and then some guy pulls out a chain and it wraps around his neck, and he throws him into the side of a trailer,
Good move.
and a little blood pellet explodes from his mouth and onto the wall.
Falls down in the slowest way possible. It's like, oh.
And finally, his instructor comes up.
caught
Somehow
up
he
with
was
you.
way behind.
I mean, Bob the instructor, his legs are like at least a couple feet shorter than... He can't keep up, you know. He can throw a mean kick. He can do a hedgehog twirl. He can't run so fast.
So he's laying waste to these guys. There's a whole group of them surrounding them, and it's like, get him, get him, get him. No, not all at once. One at a time,
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
Single file, gentlemen.
Thank God.
Got enough fists of fury for all of you. Just form a line.
So this is where it's really obvious when it's cutting between real Bob Chaney and the stunt double that looks nothing like him but is wearing a Bob Chaney wig and
Yeah.
mustache and is doing bad karate.
Very bad karate. It's
Yeah, like rolling around on the ground and stuff.
but he's kicking all their asses. He's doing crotch shots.
Yeah,
He's
one big guy. Well, since you're such a big guy, I might as well start here. He just like grabs this guy's balls.
Yeah, there's good ball twisting, cock and ball torture in this one.
Yeah,
But then they start
plenty of cock and ball torture.
They start showing this guy working some nunchucks, and he's just kind of like in the background. And I'm like, what the fuck is this guy
We
doing?
haven't seen this
Yeah.
guy at all before this, and then it just cuts to
Yeah.
this scene of the guy, and it's close up, and he's doing the full Bruce Lee.
Clearly, this was just a guy who works out at the same dojo as them and has a nunchuck routine. They're like, okay, we're going to film you do your nunchuck routine and then splice it into the movie.
And it's pretty funny. Chaney like grabs the nunchucks and he's mocking him. He's going, whoa.
Kicks his ass.
Oh, yeah.
And now people start pulling their guns out. And they start pulling out their butterfly knives and shurikens.
Yeah.
And now there's lots of weapons.
Yeah,
Now you're getting real
shurikens
ninja
is
weapons.
pretty funny because I think Bob Chaney takes off one of the people's shoes.
Yeah, he starts catching them in the soles of their shoes.
Yeah.
And the guy who's doing the shurikens, he just looks like a Midwest trucker. Like he's a guy who just drove 12 hours overnight, and now he's throwing ninja stars.
Shurikens are so out of place for what this gang has been shown to be.
Yeah.
They're just like a group of drunks having some fights in a rail yard.
Yeah, why? Yeah, I didn't even think of that. They had
like-
battle axes and fucking
Battle
trash
axes.
can lids, but they also have
Shurikens.
ninjas and ninja weapons.
I'm so there for it.
We have a random assortment. This is what happens when like a 16-year-old wins the lottery.
Name one movie that wouldn't be better if we didn't bring out some ninja stars. I'll wait. Schindler's Shuriken. So, yeah, the instructor's kicking everybody. Now, Mustache Warrior guy, he's pissed off. He's like, everybody, get in there now. And he's telling everybody, quit enough of this single file bullshit. It's time for a dog pile.
Yeah, that shit is so funny too because there's one other woman in this gang, the blonde woman, and he punched her in the stomach really hard, and we see her double over, and she's kind of like kneeling on the ground, holding her stomach with her head down, and he's looking around, and everybody's on the ground unconscious except for her, and she's clearly out of commission. But he goes right up to her, he's like, "Wow!" and he just punches this woman in the he uppercuts her in the jaw, like grabs her by the hair,
Yeah.
smashes her onto the ground.
Once the instructor is activated, he has to kill.
It's insane because he's supposed to be the nicest guy in the world.
Good lord, our walls are caving in. It is happening again.
It's definitely like a fuck you especially moment where he's just like surveying the carnage that he's unleashed, where he's knocked out 20 people. There's just like piles of bodies on the ground all around him. And then there's this lady hunched over and he's like, well, fuck you especially. And just gives her the coup de grace.
One more guy comes out of nowhere. He jumps out of a rail car, jumps on top of him, and the instructor just straight grabs his fucking sack.
It's so funny.
And then hits him over the head with a bat, I think.
Yeah. And this part in this particular fight, there's always one final guy. Like he goes through good 3 or 4 final guys. Like you think it's all done. This guy's coming from over top of the train. Oh, and this guy's like coming over here. And like he pulls a gun. He's like, next one's going between your eyes, sucker. It better be. And he just,
It better be.
This guy's gonna get special treatment from the instructor because you pull out a gun in a karate fight, you're a special kind of coward. You know? They need to be especially taught a lesson.
Yeah. Needless to say, he didn't hit him with the bullet.
No.
And he
Yeah.
Big
fucking
mistake.
pounds that guy so fucking hard.
Chaney's going through all of these final guys. The real final guy is putting on his motorcycle gear.
Yeah,
He's
he's
putting on his helmet, his little riding gloves.
Yeah, his jacket.
You ain't gonna hit me in the head. I'm putting my helmet on. Then I'm gonna run you down.
We're always safe when we ride our motorcycles. Make sure you're wearing long sleeves, brother. Road rash is no joke.
Where's my chaps? Where's my assless leather chaps?
Me and your mother are gonna take a motorcycle riding. We got some assless leather chaps for safety.
So Thumper gets up and he's like, I'll help you take this guy. And Bob Chaney's like, no, stand over there.
Yo, now you show up, Thumper. Now,
Yeah.
now that I kicked the shit out of these 30 guys.
Yeah, and so the
Thumper
instructor
did-
just pushes him away as this guy's revving up his motorcycle to take him out. He's like, I'm gonna run you down, sucker. You're mine, or whatever.
Big mistake.
He goes right at him, and here's where we get the shot from the cover. Chaney jumps up and just
Yeah.
smokes him in the face.
He powers up, like goes Super Saiyan.
And
He's like, getting ready for the motorcycle to come at him. And then the guy goes flying off the motorcycle.
Yeah.
And he just goes down on the ground and puts his 2 fingers to his neck, checking his pulse.
He's alive.
Surely I killed this guy.
It's like I showed just enough restraint that he's barely got a pulse, but he's still alive.
His brain should have exploded in his head.
time to power up for my finisher.
Yeah, I mean, this is like if you were just imagine driving 100 miles per hour on the highway and then you just hit a mighty redwood tree and just stop to a standstill. That's what it would be like to run into this guy's karate kick.
Yeah.
But no redwood tree is as magnificent as
No.
as 5'0" Bob Chaney in a fucking jumpsuit.
I've never seen a redwood tree wearing this kind of afro haircut.
A little bite-sized Mr. Pinciotti.
With the Lego man hair.
So after all the dust is settled, I think this ninja guy's name was it Quake?
Yeah, they call him something else later in the movie too, but
Couldn't really make it out, but he comes out and he's like, "Why'd you hit me? That hurt." And he wants to fight with a thumper. He wants to join Chaney's karate club.
Yeah.
So he
A
can learn how to fight.
simpleton. He likes frightening children. He likes karate fighting. He's like a stolen valor guy. He doesn't really have what it takes to be a karate fighter, but he likes to wear the gis and the ninja outfits and act like a badass.
He told them, he's like, I was in Vietnam and I was in Green Berets and Army Rangers.
Yeah, right.
And they're like, oh yeah, too, and you won the Medal of Honor too, right?
Yeah, I bet you served with Mr. Miyagi.
Yeah.
Real war hero.
Miyagi and I served in Honolulu together.
And he actually confuses the instructor with Bob Hart. And the instructor has to let him know, it's like, I'm not Bob Hart.
I'm not the instructor.
I don't want to ever be thought of like Bob Hart.
Yeah. Don't confuse me with the man who murdered Debbie.
Sorry, Bud Hart.
Yeah.
Bud Hart.
Hart.
So it cuts to Bob Hart.
Bud Hart.
The evil karate man.
Cuts to Brett the
Sleazy Bud
Hitman
Sharp.
Hart.
What did he sound like? He didn't really have a good voice for impressions.
My name is Bud Hart.
I'm Bud Hart.
I'm from the Bronx.
Oh no, I wrote in my thing that Quake sounded like Droopy Dog.
Oh, yeah.
And Thumper sounded more like Marvin the Martian.
Bud Hart.
But I didn't have
Thumper
anything
here.
on Bud Hart.
No, that's fine. He's a real sleazebag. He's got a couple jock guys coming up. They want to learn karate from him. And he's going to charge him $25 a month to learn karate at his dojo. And they're a little skeptical. Bud Hart's like, I'm an 8th degree black belt. My instructors are 6th degree black belts.
Man, that sounds like a pretty good degree.
Bud does a demonstration for these kids. If somebody grabs you, you smash him down on the ground like this, and you break every bone in his face. And then you drag his face along the concrete. And if he's still pretty, you drag him some more. Do you have that in football?
These guys are like, oh, they're not actually sold. They're like, oh, I don't know about this. This is a bit of a lunatic.
Clearly, this guy's a psychopath.
Yeah.
Can I just break like half the bones in his face? Do I have to break all the bones in his face?
bones.
So who would win, Kreese or Bud Hart?
They're cut from the same cloth.
Totally.
That's for sure.
I think Karate Kid ripped off this movie.
Might have a
The
little
more I
bit.
think about it, yeah.
Might have a little bit.
I think that was just something in the zeitgeist back then, though. There was dojo wars happening in the street. People
Karate
were
was
doing
so
karate.
fantastical.
Yeah, nunchucks were happening.
Well, the dojo wars continue to this day unabated. There will never be peace in Reseda.
No,
Can't they just stop?
When will
For
all
their
this-
children's sake and their children's children.
the senseless violence has to end.
The cycle of violence.
Hopefully somebody makes a TV show about that.
Yeah.
So now the instructor and his buddies, they're all having a nice dinner out. And here he's wearing his suit. They're all just having a big laugh. And someone's like, oh, let's have another round. And all like, yay. Anyways, time to go. So they put on their jackets and they start to leave.
Well, there's this one black guy in the group, and he's
Right.
like dressed like a pimp, basically. And he's like, sit down! Because this woman's getting up to, I guess, get a drink or go to the bathroom or powder her nose. And he's like, sit down! You gotta hear this. Okay, everybody listen up. Okay, so this white dude got captured by some cannibals, and they hung him on the tree. We never hear the punchline, it cuts away. I don't know about you guys, if you've ever told a joke in like a big group of people. You can't just demand their attention.
Everybody
and tell them,
listen! Sit
Listen up, I
down."
have a joke to tell. So little Johnny sees his mom in the shower.
Hey, where you going?
Yeah.
I'm not done.
Real
not gonna
world
land.
situations don't work like Lloyd Christmas's dream sequence in Dumb and Dumber, where you just like light farts on fire and just slay. Everybody loves it.
I know.
People actually don't really like people like clowns in a group setting when you're having a chat. They like little throwaway jokes,
Wow.
little one-liners, maybe an amusing anecdote.
It's you already if you have the room's attention, then you can make that joke.
Yeah.
But it's hard to do if you just try to break into a group
Yeah.
and tell a joke and interrupt everybody.
And-
like you're lucky if 2 people out of 10 are going to listen.
If
the
you're-
rest are just going to turn away and continue on with the conversations they were already having.
You got to have a show-stopping number if you're going to stop everybody's good time to show them something, tell them something.
You better be tapping like Gregory Hines.
Just
Like Shaw Meek from
it-
212 had to have gotten bust in the head 2 times if you're going to interrupt everybody's conversation.
and especially if you're yelling at people.
With his fucking brains and all types of shit coming out.
Like, you can't scream at somebody, like, sit down and listen to me, and then expect them to laugh at your joke.
Yeah. So we never hear the punchline anyway to the joke. And I got to admit, I don't know the joke. I
haven't
feel
heard
like
that
that's
one.
probably an old joke. And I thought I know every joke.
Just got to hang out with more cannibals.
Yeah, maybe,
Well, I mean, my sister is a cannibal. I should know.
Noted.
maybe it wasn't even a joke. Maybe he was just telling them an amusing anecdote.
I got to tell you about a real story that happened.
You guys want to hear about
Very
this
real. It's
white
about cannibals and a white man.
dude got eaten by cannibals? Can you sit down? Where are you going?
So Bud Hart, he's sitting at the other table, and he's like, "Look at that son of a bitch and his sissies." I don't know why he's got it out so bad for the instructor. You killed and raped his wife.
I
Isn't that
murdered
enough?
his wife. He still hasn't done the honorable thing.
Yeah, what the heck? He's so above it all. He's so tapped into karate zen that he doesn't even avenge his wife.
Yeah. So then Bud Hart's hanging outside the restaurant. He's asking, "Oh, what about your great master?" And there's another black guy in the group, and him and his buddies are like calling him boy. Be like, "Oh yeah, boy. Oh, you just do whatever your master does, right, boy?" And they're like,
Don't you call him boy.
"Yeah." Thumper's like, "Don't call him boy."
Thumper here.
He's a
And,
really good
and he's like,
instructor.
"Shut up, Thumper." And they're like, "Don't tell him to shut up. You shut up."
Your name's Thumper. Shut up.
Just
Isn't
because he's
Bambi.
simple doesn't mean you could tell him to shut up.
So then Thumper, he does a good trick here. He's like, "Here, have a quarter, buy yourself a drink." And he tosses this guy a quarter. The guy catches it, and he's like, "Oh, thanks." And then Bud's like, "Don't take that quarter. Give it back to him." And then when he goes to give him back to him, he reaches out, and Thumper fucking sneaks him with a little roundhouse kick there. That's a good one.
Gets him in the stomach.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's a good karate prank.
A cop comes by and he's like,
Out of nowhere.
hey, what's going on here? Are you guys karate fighting in front of this restaurant? You better not be.
It's like 2 seconds. "Hey, what's going on here?" "Nothing, cop." And they just ragdoll him.
Yeah. This
They just-
dojo rules the streets.
They
A-cat.
just smash this cop's head on the fucking trunk of his car, and he just drops down like a corpse.
He shouldn't
Nothing
have been
comes of that.
so stupid to approach them.
Totally. It's like a cop approaching Tony Soprano.
Yeah, you never approach
Some
them.
greenhorn. Hart! Cheney comes out. He's standing on the steps of the restaurant, and then he comes up and is like, "You tell your flunkies they don't mess with Bud Hart, huh? I'll kill him." But he doesn't want to fight the instructor.
Bud's scared off.
They're old
And he-
childhood friends. They have respect for each other's skill.
Yeah.
He's directing everybody. He's such a good guy. The way he just stands there, he sees like the cop on the ground. He's like, "You take him inside and get him medical attention."
And everyone's like, "Yes, sir, Mr. Instructor, sir."
It's like somebody's got to take control of this crime scene.
Chaney, the instructor, is the best. He's the most upstanding citizen ever. Everybody loves this guy.
Even when he's brutally punching women.
Criminal women.
Yeah, they're criminal women.
So we get another dining scene right after the other one, and this time it's Bud, and he's dining with the union boss. He's
Yeah.
like, "We got these scabs. They're causing trouble with the union and messing with our negotiations."
Union bosses are such criminals.
I know. It's the early Reagan years. We hate unions.
I've been trying to get my men health care.
He wants Bud Hart and his guys to take care of them. What's he offer? Like $20 a scalp or something like that, or $100 a scalp.
Yeah, something like that. And he's like, "Take care of them or just rough them up a little bit." And the union guy's like, "Take care of them." I'm the evil union guy.
And just to show how nonchalantly evil he is, he's also talking about his steak dinner. He's like, "You know, it's real surprising how few restaurants serve fresh mushrooms these days." But take care of him. Oh, that's a portobello. That's very...
I'm on the side of the union guy. Scabs deserve no better than this.
Yeah.
They should be taken care of. Bud Hart's a real
Exactly.
hero.
Support your local striking unions, everybody.
Yeah, you probably got a couple in your area right around now.
Yeah.
It ain't
It's a common
right.
sentiment these days, which is great.
This is no different than Reagan with the air traffic controllers or Biden with the train yard workers.
Bud Hart has a condition. He's like, "I'll help. In addition to my fee, you've got to rough up this other karate dojo."
Yeah. Yeah, this is a very sordid history. So Bud Hart and the Instructor were childhood friends.
I don't entirely know how it came, but Bud Hart murdered and raped his wife.
Yeah.
I don't know what led to that, but they have a long history. They probably trained together under the same master at some point.
Yeah,
that's never
what
mentioned,
I'm
but that's
thinking.
kind of implied, I think.
This is like a Ken Ryu scenario. Only one of them's a bad guy. This is like an Akuma Ryu scenario.
Yeah, that's right, because Ken and Ryu were buddies, right?
Yeah, but Akuma and Ryu, they have the same basic move set.
We're at this union compound at night. Some thugs break into it, and then they tie these people up. They tie them up in the trunk of a car. They're up to no good. And it turns out that Bud is one of the thugs. So he's not afraid to do a little bit of wet work. Get his hands dirty.
He's no better than a Pinkerton in there busting up the unions.
No, busting up the scabs.
Oh, busting up the scabs.
Yeah.
He's a good guy.
So
Good guys, right there.
the next day, the union guys, they're staking out the instructor's karate dojo. It's a nice, serene morning scene, and then we see a couple of corpses hanging upside down in a barn. That's what Bud Hart did. Sorry. So then we cut to...
That's at the children's zoo.
Yeah, so the next day,
It's like
it's
the
a beautiful
Children's
morning. And
Zoo.
there's Bud Hart and his guys strung up a couple people at the children's zoo.
Take notes, listeners. That's where scabs go.
The special children's zoo. And so now we have 3 guys. They're unkempt. They're drinking in their car, and they're staking out the instructor's dojo. And they think that the coast is all clear. They see Bud Hart leave, and Dee, this blonde lady, who she's the instructor's love interest in the movie, isn't she? She's good. She's got talent. They have a special sort of relationship. She's into him.
She must be another one of Chaney's real life students because she's got some moves.
Yeah.
She's got some kicks. I thought she looked a little bit like young Meryl Streep,
Oh, yeah.
but
Yeah.
obviously not the same caliber of actor. Meryl Cheap.
Meryl Streep
Hey-o.
is not that caliber of martial artists, so...
There you
Well,
go.
we don't know
Meryl
that.
Streep, she could probably kick lots of ass.
Yeah.
So she's stretching out, and she looks like she knows what she's doing. She's super limber, doing the splits, doing her kata. She's, doing karate.
Yeah, and instructor's just eyeing her up. He just doesn't have the balls to ask her out.
Yeah,
even
it's
though
that, or
she's
he's-
like so obviously presenting herself for him.
He's still pretty hung up on the whole dead and raped wife type of thing.
Oh, what happened to his wife?
Oh, didn't you hear that
Debbie?
she was murdered and raped?
That was a shame when that happened.
He's answering a phone. It rings. He's like, "No, we don't teach kung fu. We teach karate."
Rolls his eyes.
Yeah, it's funny. He's like, we don't teach kung fu, silly. You silly goose. This is a karate dojo. I don't even know if they do kung fu in a dojo. I don't know what you
Me
call
either.
it.
So the instructor leaves. She's finishing up and having a shower, I guess, and he just leaves her to lock up the dojo.
Yeah, I mean, if she's a senior student, she's like in her 30s or something like that.
Yeah.
God, what a fumble, man. She's like,
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to go take a shower in your dojo now. And he's like, okay, well, have a good night.
You know where we keep the towels.
I'll leave you the keys. Goodbye.
Make sure you squeegee off the walls afterwards, otherwise we get mildew.
Don't have any sex in the shower.
God, I've fumbled like this before. That's the worst.
There
You
have been
realize
times
it
where
2 hours later, and it's like, oh, I'm an idiot.
Big time. I've like woken up in a cold sweat, being like, "Oh fuck!" Some girl, from like 15 years, I'm like, "Oh shit."
She's still in the shower to this day.
Yeah, just waiting.
Yeah, she didn't need a ride home. She just wanted to hang out with me alone.
So these punks come in and they're looking for trouble. They start really intimidating Dee, being aggressive. Turns out she's a fucking karate pro.
Yeah.
Get some more upsetting attempt at SA in this movie.
Yeah, but she kicks all their asses.
They reach up and touch the bosom, but she does a karate moves on them.
Is this what it's like in Akron, Ohio? We don't have any listeners from Ohio, so.
Pretty
but if you
sure.
know, comment below, please.
It's funny, when the thugs come in, the police get a silent alarm, and they're like, the silent alarm is going off at the karate school again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those dojos are always getting into trouble with each other.
They're just magnets for crime.
Yeah.
Bob had a little line before he left. He said to her, he's like, "Don't set off the silent alarm again.
Gotcha.
It's always going off."
They're trying to make a move on her. They're gonna assault her, and then she starts fighting them off. She stabs one in the armpit with a pencil,
Yeah, she does some pretty good karate on them.
smashes another one in the face with a phone,
Yeah. I was like, this was
rotary
a
phone, mind you.
I was like, this is total wasted opportunity to have a line like with the phone, be like, it's for you.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe something with the pencil too, like eat lead, asshole.
Or you can have my number, write it down with this or something.
Yeah.
Even something clunky like that.
Oh, yeah.
Pepper this up.
Anything.
Yeah.
And I think you're going to want to strangle somebody with the phone cord. If you've got a cord phone, it's the 80s.
Yeah. If you're Chuck Norris, you can strangle someone with a cordless phone.
Never forget.
Amazing.
So she picks up a bow staff, and there's one guy left. She's like, "You want some? Come and get it." And he shits his pants and runs away like a real little Daniel LaRusso.
Like a Daniel son.
Yeah.
Now we cut to a bit of a swanky bar where people are dancing. They're doing the monkey or the Watusi or I don't know what's going on. But
Yeah.
some dance is 20 years out of style at least.
Yeah, that tracks for Ohio. Whatever they're doing on the coast, they haven't got it yet.
They're all doing the twist.
The rest of the nation is breakdancing and shit. They
They're
like
just-
haven't even discovered hip hop yet.
They're just getting news that the Big Bopper died. And Richie Valens too.
Richie, no!
Do you guys ever think, you know how it's such a trend these days to have the slow down pop songs, the slow down songs and trailers? Do you ever run through funny ideas for that song, like a slow down sad version of La Bamba? Or one that I've been thinking about lately is Part-Time Lover by Phil Collins, like just like dun 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 dun. Well, I don't know, John Wick is headshotting like
That would be good. I feel like the Beetlejuice trailer, they kind of almost put that to bed
I hope so.
with the Deo one. And it was done cleverly and ironically to everybody's surprise.
Yeah.
Nice, ripe
But
bunch
the
of
Banana
ripe
Boat
bananas.
song being done as like a moody children's choir piece or whatever is pretty funny.
Anyways, at this swanky bar, the people are doing their dances, and the one guy who got away, he goes to the swanky bar, and he takes a lady hostage. And by now, the instructor has found out that something's gone on with his dojo, and he just comes bursting in. This guy who has the hostage, there's like a dozen cops surrounding him, just completely useless.
Yeah.
Not doing anything.
No, the cops are so lame in this town.
Oh, watch out, that guy knows karate.
Guns can do nothing. Guns are no use here.
Haven't you seen he can catch a throwing star with a shoe? What's our gun gonna do against him?
Fire, you fools.
But don't worry, the instructor's in. He comes bursting in, shoves half a dozen cops out of his way, and just goes up and slaps this guy and saves the day.
Yeah. He throws him over a table.
It's good. It's a good table
stunt.
throw. That one made the trailer.
Yeah, you better believe it.
So the instructor, once again, just showing that he's a badass who will save the day. He's the only law enforcement this town needs.
Every time I see a little girl.
Back at the dojo and his whole life's flashing before his eyes. He has a bunch of flashbacks about his wife, Debbie, and they're riding horses.
They really got their money's worth out of this horse.
It's
the
like
song in the back.
it's every maudlin cliche you could put into this kind of thing when someone has a dead spouse.
Yeah, and they play a song during this flashback. There's this most ridiculous. It's an absurd song, and they must have wrote it for the movie, right? It's like, every time I see a little girl, I see your face in her, and then it just keeps singing about. Then there's a little girl, and I remember you, and there's another little girl, and I remember how happy we are together, little girl.
Yeah, there's like 2 songs I think by these people. It's like a man and a woman singing, and it's like the singers who did the "Time of My Life" song for Dirty Dancing, but like if you pump them full of like 10 grams of Ambien because they're like asleep and off tune. And these are
We can't afford those guys.
really weak off-brand shit.
But I appreciate an original tune nonetheless.
Yeah, and this movie's got a couple of those, and then it's got the main theme,
But yeah,
which is a little more like funky.
yeah, got some bongos going and some guitar with a wah-wah pedal. And so in the flashback, they're riding horses. They're frolicking around a tree. They're just saying sweet nothings to each other. And then he snaps out of it. Dee comes back into the dojo, and here they start having a bit of a heart-to-heart. And she's like, you know, the
Heart-to-heart, talking about heart.
Welcome back to Heart Talk, where we talk nothing but heart. From our heart to heart, our heart to yours.
Never call me Bud Hart.
All Bud Hart, all the time.
Never.
Back here on Heart to Heart Radio.
Luke, let's not talk about Bud Hart tonight.
Hard for
Oh no, he goes, D, let's don't talk about Heart tonight.
Because all they talk about,
But
Tired
Instructor,
of Bud
we're here on
Hart.
Heart to Heart Radio, where we only talk about Bud Hart.
You know the name of the radio station you're on, Mr. Instructor.
And tonight, coming up, we have the top 5 Bud Hart hits. Hit number 1, raping and murdering the instructor's wife, Debbie.
Number 1 with a bullet.
This is hits 1 through 5.
Hit number 2, killing those Union scabs.
Why must all of the hits involve my wife?
So now we have a karate tournament underway, and Hart's one of the judges. We got Quake, that simpleton ninja guy. He's looking at
Yeah.
trophies, and now we're getting his inner monologue. I wish I had a trophy.
Yeah.
And maybe if I had a trophy, I could get a girl, too.
Yeah.
And maybe if that girl didn't like me, I'd punch that girl.
I'd have a black belt then.
And maybe if I steal one of these trophies, nobody would mess with me. And nobody would mess with me, and I'd get the girl.
It's the logic of a simple-minded child, man. It kind of sets off a big series of events here because he steals this trophy in order to be an impressive martial artist, and this leads to him kind of bashing Thumper with the trophy, right? Eventually, Instructor Bob comes upon Thumper's bashed body, and I think he assumes that Bud Hart was involved in this assault on Thumper, maybe?
Yeah.
It's-
Well, so, before that happens, though, Thumper's winning a fight, and he's doing well in the tournament.
Yeah.
And we meet
He's
his
a winner.
wife, and he's got this beautiful wife, and she's pregnant, as we learn.
He's a very happy guy.
Yeah,
Ain't
he's
nothing bad gonna happen to him today.
exactly. It's a trope that's in almost every movie we cover,
And
where it's, oh, I'm so in love with you, and it's like, oh, I love you so much. Oh, I'm gonna fight next, and I'm gonna do great. I'm sure you'll do great,
go
honey.
get him,
Yeah.
Thumper.
And guess what? This baby in my belly is going to love you so much, Thumper. And we love you, and I love you. Oh, and by the way, Thumper, I love you. I love you too, sweetheart. Okay, I'll be right back. I'm just going to go shower.
I can feel the baby kicking. It's going to be a martial artist. It loves karate.
So he's stalking Thumper, who's going to the locker room, and he's going in for his fits.
They have a bit of an altercation. They bump into each other on the stairwell, too, and he's like, hey, that trophy doesn't belong to you. You got to put that trophy down.
You're mean.
I'm going to break this trophy off his head.
I think you'd better drop it.
I stole this trophy fair and square.
What is this? I'll mangle you, you turd.
Yeah, so,
Oh, that's before he even goes to the locker room.
Thumper and Quake bump into each other, and Thumper's like, you got to put that trophy back. And then he leaves, and Quake's like, I'll mangle you, you turd.
Another great trailer line.
Yeah.
He's demented.
Yeah, by the way, listeners, you don't need to watch this movie. I mean, you could if you want, but watch the trailer. You'll get it.
You'll
It's
get
got
the
so
gist
many
of it.
of the best moments in it too.
Hart comes into the locker room with Thumper there and starts giving him a hard time, and he's slapping him around. And then he leaves, and then Quake comes in. Well, Thumper's having a bit of a schwitz here in the sauna.
Yeah, Thumper was the bigger man. Hart was slapping him around trying to get a fight going, but Thumper doesn't need that anymore. He's won a karate trophy. He's like perfect karate zen master now. He just sits down and he's like, I don't need to prove anything to anyone. I only need to prove things to myself now.
I have self-esteem. I don't need your
Yeah.
particular brand of karate, Bud Hart.
You're a
Yep.
loser.
Quaker, he just we see him thumping Thumper with the trophy
Thumper, no
again and
thumping.
again as it's intercutting with this karate fight. We do see some real karate champs here. They notably call out Algene Carolia, who is like a famous karate champ from the 80s, who just like appears like, hello, I'm in your movie. And the way it intercuts, it's like some pretty visionary filmmaking. Very Kubrickian.
I don't know when a good time to bring it up is, but have I ever told you guys my story about Sensei Bill?
No.
When I was doing karate,
Do tell.
there was this older gentleman who was, in his 50s or something like that. He was a black belt from another type of karate, and then he was learning our style for a little bit. Super cool guy, super intense. Like, he had fucking those crazy eyes where He'll like when he's like doing his kata, he's like yeah, and just like his eyes are bulging out of his head. And like the more I got to know him, I'm like, this guy's like really wild cat. We're talking as we're like,
Did you spar with him? Was he one of those guys who hits way too hard when you're practice sparring? It's like you
No, he
don't
was-
need to follow all the way through with your kicks, buddy.
he wasn't like a hard ass like that, but like he took it very seriously, and we were getting dressed into our street clothes afterwards, and he wears like big baggy pants. He's like, gotta wear baggy pants because you never know when a fight's gonna break out in the street. You gotta be able to kick. I'm like, okay, right on. And he's like, that's why I always wear steel toe boots too. And he like points out, he's like wearing these gigantic ass construction boots.
Okay, Uncle Rico.
In case I ever need to kick a man's teeth out.
You never know. Somebody's got a blade. They can't get through a steel toe boot.
Try to stab me in my toe.
Kicks the heel and a blade comes out of the boot.
I got a blade out coming up the front and the back. Hiya! Like, okay. Okay, Sensei Bill.
Ichi the Killer.
Anyways, that's all. It's just a crazy guy.
Just-
Crazy old, crazy eyes.
How old was he?
50s, 60s. Like, old to be, like, totally bald and gray. Old enough to be, like, totally bald and gray on the sides.
You should probably find yourself a woman, or else you're going to be a Sensei Bill.
That is one cool thing about karate. Like there was this viral tweet that was going around for a while where it was like this 7-foot tall black guy who was like, I've been on this earth for 38 years. I've seen untold horrors in my life, but this morning I did my first day of karate and I was training next to a 6-year-old girl, and it was a totally humbling experience for me. It was like in that moment we were like equals on the karate battlefield or whatever.
Her horse stance was perfect. I can't get low enough in my horse stance.
She can do the crane style. It's not fair.
You're like, I'll mangle you turd.
If I had a trophy, then she'd respect me.
If I had a trophy, then all the 6-year-olds would appreciate my skills.
They'd stop bullying me.
It's like that episode of Seinfeld where Kramer goes into karate and he's just the biggest badass beating up all the 6-year-olds in his karate class.
Grown-ups in a karate class is a joke that gets me every time.
Yeah.
Whether they're being a badass or they're just like in the office, Dwight's in karate. He's just everybody's little bitch boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's the guy who has to scrub the mats afterwards. These like 12-year-olds are telling him off.
You gotta be willing to eat your humble pie.
Everybody has to pay their dues. Everybody starts at square one.
Yeah.
So the instructor walks in and sees Thumper dead.
Drops to his knees, screaming to the heavens.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
It's all a misunderstanding.
And then he gets up immediately and like he's about to like get in a fight with his buddy who's in his dojo, like one of his guys in his dojo, and he comes to his senses. He's like, I gotta find Hart. So they climb into the car and they take off. They're gonna go find Hart.
He
This
has
guy's name
no
is
real
Shark.
reason to think. Well, I guess, and Hart did come into the locker room and threaten Thumper earlier.
Yeah.
I don't know why the instructor would know that.
If anything
he
bad
has a
happens-
psychic connection with his students,
He's had a bad
maybe.
feeling before.
Oh, yeah.
This is the
Well, when
last straw.
Thumper's
Debbie
been raped
got
and murdered.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. He's like, you know what? You did all kinds of things to me. When we were kids, you took my pencil, I lent it to you, never gave it back. Then you raped and murdered my wife. And now you got Thumper. Now you beat up Thumper. This
really
is the
is.
last straw.
It is funny that this is the straw that breaks the camel's back. It's like, not Thumper, too.
Thumper! Has Thumper been raped and murdered?
You can mess up my dojo. You can send a bunch of clowns after D. I don't care.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Not
Rape
Thumper.
D? That's fucked up, man.
D's tough. She can defend herself.
Yeah.
Thumper, he's a little
but
baby. He's got
someone-
pillow hands.
Thumper was like my Robin, man. He runs with me when I go running. He's always around.
Yeah, Thumper turned into Jason Todd.
Yeah, Bob Hart beat him to death with a crowbar.
Instructor and his buddy, I think it's that one black guy that the guys were calling Boy earlier.
Yeah, Shark is his name.
Yo, Shark? Okay, great. I didn't catch his
This
name.
is the second movie where
Like
we've had a black
License to
guy named
Kill.
Shark or Sharky.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
Was that a stereotype or a trope? I don't know.
I don't
That's
know
weird.
if that's a racial thing.
I think that was just popular in the African American community.
But this guy's pretty good. He's actually pretty decent at karate, and yeah, he's got a better body than pretty much anybody in this movie. More convincing ass kicker.
Oh, sorry. Shark is the guy that he's about to beat up. So they
Okay, cancel everything we just said.
forget it all.
Wow.
We got to get these facts right.
Yeah, that's
Because the instructor, they pull up on this. He's like a groundskeeper or something. something like that. And it's like, all right, Shark, I'm going to ask you one time and one time only. Where's Hart? Hart who? And then they just kick the shit out of him.
Yeah. The guys in the cemetery, all these people are just ready to fucking go.
Yeah, everybody knows karate.
And look,
Especially at the cemetery.
Yeah.
So and it's the black guy, right? He's fighting with the instructor, the one they call Boy. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And he takes off his shirt. He looks fucking.
that doesn't matter in karate.
Yeah. So this is when we get the theme again.
Now with words.
Don't mess with him. He'll go to any lengths to put you in your place because he knows his own strength.
Yeah.
He's the darkest man in town, and he knows how to lay you down.
Throwing stars.
And his name is Shocky. And he's so cool.
Yeah, so everybody's coming out of everywhere. That now we get another scene of people just coming up with weapons. and
Nunchucks, the best.
Love them.
Yeah.
And we get some good fighting. Some like pretty okay fighting here.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty decent all around.
Yeah.
Decent karate.
All these people look like they knew how to do karate.
Yeah.
So that's all taken care of, and now it's the big chase. We're getting into the climax of the movie. So Bud Hart is
Climaxing.
I'm arriving.
Bud Hart is completely oblivious to all of this. He's getting groceries or something like that. He's just going about his business. He's
so
going to get
crazy.
in his car.
Bud Hart did nothing wrong.
Yeah.
Hashtag.
And
Somehow, finally, this guy's just on a mission to fucking kill him.
yeah. And so the instructor's coming up in his shiny Corvette, and Bud Hart just sees him tearing down the street, and he figures that he's coming after him.
Yeah, he
Bud Hart
jumps
is
into his 79 Trans Am, and
Just-
a chase is afoot.
And this is a chase. This is a big-ass car chase where they're using entire streets. They have cars and cop cars weaving in and out of traffic.
They're
Yeah.
going for real 100 miles per hour in downtown Akron, Ohio.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is, whether they got a permit or not, it's just impressive that they pulled it off.
The town helped them with this, but
Yeah.
there's
they
still
must have.
stunts in here that are ridiculous. There's pedestrians
Yeah.
on the street.
It's like Death Race 2000.
Close. They're
Like,
close to the fucking cars speeding by them.
Yeah.
They're jumping out of the way of the cars.
There's scenes with pedestrians and other cars where I was like, there must have been like 20 stunt drivers, quote unquote stunt drivers. I'm sure they just got like whoever their buddies were. Like,
Once again, according to Dean Bendell, like they're Hollywood guys. They left. He fired them.
Yeah.
This is all just people from the fucking neighborhood. It's
they were
like,
drinking.
yeah, I'll fucking jump your Corvette into the fucking air and drive it into a forklift through a fence. And when
yeah.
it's a miracle nobody was hurt.
I
Yeah.
was gonna do that. I'm sure there was probably a path of destruction. I like half of Akron, Ohio, was hospitalized.
Sorry, Mitch, did you just mumble you were going to do that the other day? Yeah, they're going to do that the other day.
Who can remember?
Yeah, they're terrorizing it. Cars are getting demolished. It's awesome.
Yeah, there's a hood cam. We see cars flipping over.
Cops they're wise to it. One car, like they go blowing past this cop car, and the cop's like, "Holy shit!" And he puts on his cherries and
Yeah, there's
huge
5 or
chase.
6 cop cars that are involved in this chase. I feel like.
Yeah, we see him just going into a school zone, and then it cuts to the speedometer going to 100 miles an hour. Like, that's our hero.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this Hart is a menace.
He's like, I need reaction time in case a kid kicks a soccer ball into the street. My
God.
karate reactions are pretty quick, but
So Hart gets pulled over by the cops finally, and he's about to get arrested, but he's not going to go down easy. So he smashes a cop's head into the car, fights his way out, and then he just starts tearing off.
The instructor, his convertible, was that the one that went up the ramp?
Yeah, it went through
through
some
like
hay-
the fucking hay truck, through like the fences, into a
Yeah.
fucking forklift.
Yeah.
Yeah,
his
they
car
rode
is
off that
totaled.
fucking Corvette. That was a lot of the budget of the movie right there.
it was pretty sweet
Worth it.
Corvette.
Totally worth it.
It was like a nice, like, black Corvette. It's like something the Punisher or Blade would drive or something.
Actually, it was dark blue.
Navy, if you want to be technical.
And the director of photography, fun fact on this film, was like, I actually have a yellow Corvette, and I think we should use my yellow Corvette in this movie because it stands out more, so that they don't have like a black Trans Am versus a dark
black
blue
versus
Corvette.
Black. That's what it looked like. Yeah.
Yeah, and Bendell was like, "Shut up! We're using the dark blue Corvette. You're fired." Dean Bendell's like, "So I took over as director of photography."
I'm a wholesome man, but I have my limits.
Then the
It's gonna be a
lighting
yellow
guy.
Corvette.
He fires anyone who crosses him.
The
This
lighting
guy was
guy.
a tyrant. He was a first-time filmmaker, had no idea what he was doing, anything about it.
Nobody messes with Bendell.
They tried to put a yellow gel on the lights. I said, no,
very angry. I'm Dean Bendell.
I'll hold the boom mic.
I don't think we should use your car.
I don't need stuntmen or a DP. I'll do all of it.
Get these actors out of here.
I know karate.
Yeah.
I know, crazy.
I've been training at karate and now I know how to do filmmaking.
Pretty plucky. Pretty impressive.
You know what? I saw Orson Welles on the Dick Cavett show the other day, and he said there's nothing to directing. You just point the camera, and you can
Did
learn
he?
directing in a day. That's what he said.
Did he say that?
Yeah.
Easy for maybe the greatest director of all time to say, hey.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's the thing.
It's so
Like,
fucking easy. Why
said
aren't
you
there
could
more
learn it in
Orson
a
Welles?
day.
it's so annoying when somebody who's obviously super talented gives just a little response like that.
I'm a prodigy.
I was talking to one of the drummers in the school band in high school. He was a really good drummer. He was really good, and he had a really good drum roll, like a push roll, like the standard drum roll when it's like, "Ladies and gentlemen,
English.
drum roll,
I don't know what
please."
he's talking.
So I was like, just asking him for tips or whatever. He's like, "Well, I don't know. It's just how I play it." I'm like, "Great,
You know
fucking like cool. Thanks for your help."
A lot, you know what? Being good at something, some people are talented at things,
Yeah.
but being able to teach is a whole other skill.
Yeah.
I know in my case, I'm good at certain things, but I've never been good at teaching.
Well,
And I'm that same way. Like, obviously, I don't play drums or fucking direct films like Orson Welles.
Or
Yeah,
or,
of
or
course.
Bud Mendell.
I'm no.
I mean,
Well, I'm more like a Dean Bendell
Dean
because
Bendell.
or whatever is Don Dean. Who fucking cares?
Bud
I'm
Hart.
Bendell.
Thumper. I'm a equally fucking arrogant and
Yeah.
and like middle talented white
Yeah.
man who's like, you know
I'll-
what? I'm the best at this. Fuck you. I'll show you how it's done.
I'll be the sound guy and the lighting guy, and I'll write the script and direct. I'll do it. I'll be director of photography.
Can I tell you how I did it? No, because I'm an idiot. But I also don't have the talent of Orson Welles.
I just did it. Look at the results.
Yeah. I mean, you can't blame your buddy, though. I'm sure what happened was he was probably just washing the dishes and vacuuming around the living room, and then next thing he knew, he could play the drums.
You just keep doing those repetitive motions.
Yeah, next thing you know, you got a skill.
I do love
Yeah,
those.
I spent so many hours playing Zelda trying to learn jujitsu. all I got better at was playing Zelda. I'm really good at Zelda now.
All I learned was Krav Maga.
That's not even a real martial art.
I just learned how to put a man's
IDF
nose
made
bone
that
into his
shit
brain.
up. What did you say, Vonn?
Oh, I just learned. All I learned was how to put a man's nose bone into the back of his brain. Just trying to get some
useful.
Deku nuts.
Still can't beat Ocarina of Time,
Yeah.
but killing people on the street with
That-
Stab your
That
brain
water
with
temple's
your
tough.
nose bone. So they're doing the car chase, and then that breaks down.
Yes,
and
Hart's on foot, and the instructor pursues.
it turns into a foot chase for a while.
Then they
and
get a couple of dirt bikes. They like pass by a
so
bike.
good.
then
I
it
gotta
turns
get
into
your
a
bike.
motorcycle. Yeah.
Awesome stunts. These guys are fucking
Oh,
riding
yeah.
bikes through rivers,
Yeah.
over cliffs,
It's
taking
a
huge
cross
jumps.
country
This
car
is wicked.
chase.
This is like straight up. This whole scene is like a Grand Theft Auto mission,
And it is
like
a
good
third
one.
of the movie.
It is.
It's a full third of the movie.
It's very hard to sum it all up because it is like a straight quarter of the movie is dedicated to like this big prolonged chase fight scene.
Once again, it's fucking really good for a movie of this quality.
Well,
Yeah.
it's amazing when you just have no oversight and you kind of are with a bunch of people who are game to just injure themselves because they're not part of a union or expecting like a wage or to have WCB or whatever's going.
Yeah.
Like they're not professionals who have professional expectations.
This is
These are
Akron,
people-
Ohio.
They don't
no
have anybody
unions
looking
here.
out for their best interest.
Yeah.
It like the
Hey,
way
we're a family here. You don't need a union being a middleman between Dean Bendell.
See, yeah, I
And
thought
you.
that we were a family here. I don't know. I don't really appreciate family asking for a raise around Christmas. It's gonna really hurt my pocketbook, buddy.
By the way, we're buying pizza on Friday, so everybody, pizza. Just sign this no union thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's also that's gonna cost you your dental coverage.
We're cutting hours.
Yeah.
In the
Good
new year.
news though.
Cutting hours.
Breadsticks, pizza and breadsticks.
Goodbye, dental plan.
Yeah, no chicken wings this year. People didn't eat all the chicken wings last year, so we've actually decided it's a waste of money. So just pizza and breadsticks. It's a lot cheaper that
Can
way.
we get the dipping sauce for the crazy bread?
Yeah, about the dipping sauce. We didn't go through all of them, and actually it turns out that people are kind of picky, and they only want the ranch, but the ranch is more expensive, so no dipping sauce.
Yeah, times are lean as he drives off in one of his 3 Corvettes.
His Mr. Miyagi
Drives it
car.
through a fence and into a forklift.
We're all feeling the pinch.
Yeah. Can't afford green onions in this economy.
Now, I've got to catch a flight. I'm going to Hawaii. Me and the family, we're going to Hawaii for Christmas. But anyways,
Yeah.
enjoy the pizza.
Yeah.
I can spare
I hope
my.
you don't mind. It's we couldn't afford delivery. It's take-home bake.
It's not delivery, it's Delicio.
Take home bake. New marketing term.
Well, some of those places do take and bake. Is it Papa John's? Don't they do that?
Or it's like Mitch Murphy's or like Papa Murphy's.
Yeah, one of those Papa
It's a
fucking
Papa
places.
Giorgio. Nick Papa Giorgio's. Those are good pizzas. But also, I like my pizza to be ready to eat. when
Bake
I
it
order
for me, motherfucker.
Exactly.
It's good
Yeah.
cold. I don't need it that fresh out of the oven. Fuck, pizza hangs around, man.
That's another Seinfeld idea. That was one of Kramer's get-rich-quick schemes in one episode. Was he's like, I'm going to open a pizza restaurant where everyone has to bake their own pizzas. It's like, Kramer, you can't have people putting their arms into wooden ovens. $1 million idea,
It's gonna be gold, Jerry.
Jerry. Gold.
Not as good as the muffin tops one.
That's actually a great
What do
idea.
you expect us to do with these muffin stumps?
Everybody loves muffin tops.
That's exactly the type of stupid idea that would net some guy $100,000 on Shark Tank. Because like, oh, how many of these you sold? Well, you sold 7,000 muffin tops.
I feel like that's a business where you could open it and it would never, and you would just have that like market capture period, like Uber and all these companies, where you just capture the entire market and then you could sell it for $1 billion before anyone discovers that it's actually a shitty idea and can't make money.
Now all we can
Half
get
these
is
muffin tops are muffin bottoms.
Well, the landfills are filled with muffin bottoms.
It's the 2020s. We're all muffin bottoms now.
I saw this idiotic thing on Shark Tank where this guy sold, it's a shower cap. Basically, he's like, I like to shower at night, but I get bad bedhead. So it's a shower cap that has sponges in it or something like that. So you fill it with water, put it on your head, and then you get your hair wet. He made like $300,000.
Good.
That's
God.
the dumbest thing I've ever heard of.
I know. So long, bedhead.
There's a whole universe. There's like an industry of YouTube channels dedicated just to going over all the Kickstarter scams and everything that are out there nowadays. Very good entertainment value in checking. They get a little repetitive. If you've seen 5 of them, you've seen them all, but they all follow the same basic scam model.
We need to start killing some of these people.
Yeah.
I think Mao was right.
Well, before
But like
we start
Kevin
that,
O'Leary
I've
and
gotta-
shit like is like
gotta
he's
tell you-
like, oh, what Trump's and what Elon are talking about doing in the States is great idea. We should do that here in Canada too. Is fire 80% of all federal employees. You guys are fucking dumb, man. Do you realize what that would do to the economy?
Here's what I don't get that I don't hear people saying about Elon is that he's like a military contractor who has accepted billions of dollars of taxpayer money. Like, how is this guy in charge of government efficiency? How is he the guy who gets to decide where taxpayer money goes? He's a military contractor who's taken like billions. Like, in what world is he the guy to decide where everyone's money is going?
In the stupid world, the one we live in.
We
in
live
the
in
satire
an idiotic
we're
place.
trapped in.
He's the dumbest motherfucker breathing air.
Yeah, it's insane. He's a meme lord. It's great.
And his memes are bad.
That's the thing. The memes are bad.
He's a cringy
And people
meme lord.
are gaslighting me every day, telling me he's funny when objectively I'm looking at them. It's the most low tier, thoughtless shit.
But what if we
Yeah.
ran the government like a business? Wouldn't that be great? Everybody loves how their private businesses treat them.
Nobody has any problems with
and again,
bosses or garnishing wages or
well, like Trump, much like Trump, any business he's run has just been like, just look how he's handled Twitter. You just see like massive floods of users leaving every day. Like, this is the guy this is not how you want your business run.
You mean Elon handled Twitter?
Or Trump with his multiple bankruptcies and his con artist stuff. I guess at least Elon has SpaceX and
I just think all business people should be executed. I don't think that should be an extreme opinion.
no.
Anybody who's fucking living in reality should just come to terms with that.
Oh,
The
yeah.
sooner we get to it, the sooner and better off we'll be.
people over profits.
Oh yeah.
It's not extreme.
I don't know.
Normalize it.
The race is on. I think it is more likely that your grandchildren will have a slave microchip in their head than the billionaires will be overthrown and executed.
Time will tell.
Yeah. Let's see. We're
You know-
taking bets, listeners.
If there's any justice in this world, we'll be minstrels in some billionaire's court telling our amusing anecdotes about movies. We'll be the lucky ones, hopefully.
Musk is wearing like
Till
a
they
Hunger
hear this
Games
podcast.
Musk has his cheeks with like rouge and like white makeup. He's wearing Hunger Games outfit, jester clothes, and we're like just like
Do the Nick Nolte voice.
We're wearing slave rags.
Speak like Nick Nolte for me.
Gans.
I think it's so funny when you do your walking. Well, he thinks it's funny. It's not funny now.
Shit, you gotta work on the walking impression.
We do a performance.
Why don't you do Mr. T?
Musk tweets a poop
That
emoji.
shit's way too funny for Elon Musk, actually.
He wouldn't get it.
He wouldn't get it at all.
I don't get it. He's a big tough guy, but he's sensitive. It doesn't make sense.
What if Mr. T mined the most emeralds?
Comedy gold. 5 comedy points to me. Cry laugh emoji, cry laugh emoji, cry laugh emoji.
To the moon.
Hey Donald, look at this meme.
Another cheeseburger for you.
We went way off course here.
Yeah, so our world is stupid, but this movie's awesome.
Yes.
Yes.
Now it's a chase. It was a chase on foot. Now they're on dirt bikes, and they're going through the woods. They go into this river, and then they have to bail on their bikes because it turns out that you can't ride a crotch rocket through a river.
The instructor at one point, he's just like standing in the woods quiet, like him and Bob have gotten separated from each other, and like this is where the instructor taps into some kind of Zen sense, and he's just like got his eyes closed. He can hear like children playing nearby.
Yeah, he's staring off into the distance and he has a flashback of him and Bud Hart fighting as kids where they're like standing maybe in the same exact spot. And Bud Hart comes out from like behind him on the right, like at his like 5 o'clock. And he's like, when he's sensing it.
He can
and then
sense
Bud
it.
Hart jumps out with like a tree branch or something to like hit him over the head. And he got him.
You know?
Yeah, he didn't hit him with the 2x4. Fucking instructors got him.
dodged it.
Bud grabs a chainsaw.
So they go running off a bit more. They come across a lumberjack on his lunch break.
Oh yeah, there's a chainsaw fight.
Yeah,
In this
so
movie.
he's like,
My wife made me tuna today. And then two fucking
"Oh,
lunatics.
it's tuna surprise."
just cut down one
Little
more
bits of cheddar
tree.
cheese in there.
These two freaks just come out of nowhere. One of them grabs his chainsaw.
Yeah, Bud Hart's swinging around like a lunatic.
That's not cut for karate fighting. That's only for cutting down trees.
So now
I got
they're-
my other chainsaw over there. It's for karate fighting. This one's
is
for
like-
kung fu.
I've been meaning to start taking a list of movies where this happens because I've got a handful of good chainsaw fights in movies now. There's one X-Cross that has a good chainsaw fight. Mandy
Nice.
has a good chainsaw
Mandy.
fight.
Mandy.
This is like, I guess this is like a one-sided chainsaw fight because there's not two chainsaws fighting
I mean,
against
Texas
each other.
Chainsaw 2 has a two chainsaw.
Oh
fight.
yeah,
that one does.
Yeah.
I didn't like it, but I think it was 2022. The last Texas Chainsaw Legacy sequel that came out, it didn't have a chainsaw fight per se, but it had a super god-powered chainsaw where at one point Leatherface chops through an entire bus with a chainsaw.
Oh, yeah.
It's like
That's
4
pretty
feet
good.
long. It's a massive chainsaw, and
Chainsaw is always a weapon. When I see it busted out on screen, I feel like there's just like I get an element of heightened danger just because it's like, sometimes you can see that the chain's been removed or something.
It's not a practical weapon by any means.
no, that's just as almost as likely to blow up in your own face if that chain comes loose.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
like picture someone accidentally touching a rock and the chain breaks and cuts someone's face open.
I feel like if you're at all skilled with the blade, like for instance Mitchell is clearly,
Mitchell, you're a
you would
resident.
you would have no trouble fighting
Well-
off somebody clumsily swinging a chainsaw around.
It's true, but I would use a katana on him because it's more honorable weapon.
What my dad always said about chainsaws is like one misstep though, and that's a 1/4 inch of flesh gone all the time.
But it's not going to go all the way in unless you like have a guy down and tied down. I mean, it's good for dismembering a corpse, but it's not good as a weapon.
No, especially
No.
against the instructor.
No.
No, there's better weapons. One swift move with your katana.
Like, gotta have some steel toe boots. That'll take a chainsaw.
That's why I always wear loose pants and steel-toed boots.
So they're fighting and they make their way to the edge of a cliff. Bud Hart falls off and he's dangling. And Chaney, the instructor, he wants to save him. Give me your hand. Give me your hand.
And Bud's like making a real case for himself. This hand, the hand that broke your old lady's neck. And then he just jumps. He falls. And it's, we get the dummy falling off the cliff.
Love it.
Same as the Batman ending.
And it turns out the instructor didn't want him to die after all.
No.
Because he's looking sad that he...
Spent half an hour chasing him and trying to kill him.
And then he killed himself. And even after mocking killing your wife...
He'll never face justice.
But he's such a good guy.
I wasn't expecting this movie to take this turn. The instructor gets locked up. Usually this movie's
Yeah.
like, that's it. That's the end. But we're in a place where I guess the cops do things from time to time.
And
Now, according to Don Bendell, this was like his whole point with making the movie. Because they
has to be
read this guy,
consequences.
they're like, well, we don't know if you murdered Hart, but you are getting locked up for evading a police officer, grand theft auto, reckless driving, and he lists off this huge litany of
Ruining a
offenses.
lumberjack's lunch.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like an insane list of charges.
We care about our forestry industry here.
Yeah,
Unlicensed
and he's
chainsaw
like, well, I
usage.
guess I'll face justice for all of that. And
Yeah.
like, this was like Don Bendell's like, well, we can't just have guys running around using karate irresponsibly and not facing any consequences.
We
for
can't
it.
have fun in a movie. Can we, folks?
his
Which is bizarre that he made this movie, but this was like, according to him, his whole message with this movie is that you should
Yeah.
face consequences even if you're the good guy. Even if he raped and murdered your wife and killed himself, you should go to jail and face the authorities for whatever crimes you may commit.
You did the
I'm
crime.
Don Bendell. Damn it. I wrote this movie.
Do you know who the fuck I am?
No man is above the law.
You're fired.
You're all fired.
His love interest comes out, and she's like, "I'll wait for you." He's
But I'm Yanis Kaminsky. I'm one of the most decorated cinematographers in Hollywood. Give me that fucking camera.
now I'm director of lighting.
Instructor, he's getting held until Hart's murder is figured out. And they're like, but that murder's not really the problem.
You reckless instructor.
You broke a lot of property.
The instructor learns that it was Quaker who actually murdered Thumper. So they've apprehended Quaker and are fucking charging him with murder, which is interesting because of what happens in the next scene.
So, cut to a little while later, there's a kid's karate class being taught, and the instructor's out. All he had to do is pay $500.
Before he goes out, Dee visits Instructor while he's in jail. She's like, I'll wait for you. I'll wait for you. And he's like, well, I'm facing 11 years in jail minimum. And she's like, I'll wait for you.
We never had much of a love interest throughout this movie.
We never even kissed, but okay.
I watched you do
Beautiful
yoga.
woman who's in her prime.
You're no Elizabeth Shue.
All we did was talk about Bud Hart and how he destroyed my wife.
I'll wait for you. And then he also gets a little confused there because, like, he's been in, like, the waiting room for 2 hours, and he's like, yeah, you waited for me 2 hours. And she's like, no, I'll wait for you your entire sentence. It's like, wow. That's
Ridiculous.
a little much.
I'm
That's
in
a bit
Akron,
much.
Ohio. I have zero other prospects. Sorry, Ohio.
He's like, you're a
Yeah.
little too into me.
Fair.
I got a lot on my plate. I'm going to jail soon. I don't know about this relationship.
Now, a little while later, we're at this kid's karate class. The instructor comes in and everybody's overjoyed. He's a free man. All he had to do was pay $500. And then we find out
And
Thumper's alive.
And then Thumper's alive. He's got
Nothing.
like a Band-Aid on his head.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, I'm alive, guys.
Hey, you smell that? Smells like bacon? That's Quaker's frying corpse. They killed him.
Which, like,
Charged with murder.
All I had to do was lay low for a couple weeks.
the only thing I can figure is that maybe at some point during this car chase, the instructor drove off a cliff and died, and this is just his Jacob's ladder, his brain firing its last synapses. Oh, Thumper's still alive. Oh, I only had to pay a $500 fine. It's that much of a bizarre happy ending.
Yeah,
twist.
or he's in a coma.
Yeah.
It's the end of Titanic. Rose is walking down, and there Leonardo DiCaprio's there, and all the people who died on the Titanic are waiting for him there.
Yeah. And Dee's an old woman now, and she like pulls out her black belt and like throws it overboard.
Dear far,
The Saint-Sur Noir.
She
think that's how you say
always
black
waited
belt in
for him.
French.
She's waiting for him in the afterlife.
That's the end of the movie. The instructor and Dee, they have a big smooch, and that's the end.
Yeah.
That's the greatest karate movie ever made.
Yeah. Over the credits, we get a bunch of footage of Bob Chaney and his karate class with the kids and some adults. Just really seems like a great dude.
Yeah, I think he's
His
on and
school-
off the screen.
Yeah, his school is still open. I saw there's a branch in California too, and they have a little shrine to him.
Oh shit, California's not a good place to open a karate dojo. You're going to be in trouble there.
Yeah, I know. There's just dojo violence happening everywhere,
Cobra
but
Kai.
I imagine that his students and his progeny are carrying on his legacy very proudly and holding their own against the thugs in Cobra Kai and
Yeah.
Miyagi-Do and all those other evil schools.
His legacy lives on.
All right,
We salute.
that was 1981's The Instructor. We talked about some karate movies here. We had The Karate Kid, and then we had The Instructor. I know that I learned that karate might not necessarily be in my cum gutters. Maybe it's in my heart. Maybe it's in my head. What did you guys think? Let's start with Luke. Which way are you going here?
I like both these movies okay. Karate Kid, like I said, never been my favorite.
He's a little choked up here.
Sorry.
It makes me emotional still.
The Instructor I had quite a bit of fun with. I'd say both movies are a little bit padded, a little bit long. The Instructor is shorter. I probably had more fun watching it. So I got to give it to The Instructor. I think it's got a lot of heart. I like the scrappy DIY nature of it. And you can really tell that a whole town came together and put their whole hearts into making this thing. And it's a lovely tribute to somebody who at first you might think is totally a joke or is pathetic, or you might this might scan to you as like an exploitation film, but it's none of those things. It's actually a really sweet community art project. And
Very
I
earnest.
appreciate it for that. So yeah, for me, The Instructor by an edge, a small edge.
The Instructor by an edge. And how about you, Mitchell McIsaac?
You know, I'm the type of martial artist where I believe that there should be no mercy, and I am very ruthless. So I liked the Karate Kid because I could relate most to the Cobra Kai out of all of these martial artists because, you know, I don't cotton to weakness, and I will just break someone's kneecap if they step out of line. So I'm a Karate Kid man. Yeah, but everything you said about the Instructor's right. It's got that do-it-yourself scrappiness that's really fun. Actually, yeah, I probably... Oh, boy.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are seeing somebody change their mind in real time here.
Everybody knows the Karate Kid, and you might not know the Instructor, and the Instructor is just a lot of fun. So, yeah, I guess I will give a vote to the Instructor. Just like you already have seen the Karate Kid.
I love the way Mitch always thinks that his answer matters so much. Like you're testifying to Congress every time that we ask you at the end of an episode.
There have been so many episodes where I like walk away. I'm like, oh, actually, you know what? Actually, I preferred the other movie. Contrary to what I said, I'm like, I changed my mind within 5 minutes of whatever I'm about to say right now.
Well, I always go with my heart.
It's one of those situations where, like, Karate Kid is probably the must-see movie out of these two. Like, if you haven't seen Karate Kid, you should probably check it out. But if you are me and have seen Karate Kid, you'll probably be more interested in The Instructor. The Instructor.
Hell yeah. I'll start off by saying I unabashedly love The Karate Kid. I've watched it a bunch. For me, before I came back to rewatch it, I thought it was like a little bit mid, but this way through, it just hit all the chords I wanted it to, and for me it was actually an easy 5-star movie. I think it's like, it is what it is. It's got lots of flaws, it's got lots of problems, it runs a little long, but it's just, it puts me in a nice comfy spot when I watch it. It's a story that you know all the beats, you know where it's gonna go, but I enjoy that, and Pat Morita's performance really stuck out to me this time, and Little Ralph Macchio. He was better than I remembered or gave him credit for previous
Little
times.
Ralph.
That being said,
I think one thing I didn't mention about Karate Kid is how good it looks.
it does.
There's a
look
lot of
good.
really nice golden hour shots. Those shots on the beaches, the shots of Miyagi Do's backyard, and all of that. Like, I think it looks neat. It looks better than most modern movies do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks good. It has a great soundtrack.
It is
Both,
one
like,
of those movies that I would show aliens if they landed on Earth to explain the 1980s. I would be like, there's 5 movies you have to watch, and Karate Kid's probably one of them to understand the 1980s.
I don't have much love, or I haven't really seen
A
any of the
specific,
other
a
ones.
weirdly specific thing for aliens.
Yeah. Aliens have...
People of Earth, please explain to us your 1980s.
Show me 5 movies from every decade to explain to me your entire human history.
Explain to me what putt and stuff is.
I go up behind the alien. I'm showing him how to putt. I'm like holding his hips and stuff.
Here's how we
It's like this.
putt in the high and low
Feel a
studio.
little poke coming through.
That being
That's
said,
the penis.
no question whatsoever, I'm choosing The Instructor. This movie's fun as hell.
Unanimous.
I love it. It's my second time seeing it. It's super fun. It's also got problems, but like Mitch was saying, nobody's seen this movie. There's less than 1,000 logs on Letterboxd. Everybody knows Karate Kid, and
Doing our part to change that.
yeah. And I love Karate Kid. The first one, Cobra Kai, is fine. The other movies I've seen bits and pieces of, they don't strike me as hard as the first one does. But The Instructor is something special.
You don't get 1984's Karate Kid without a 1981 The Instructor.
Really, yeah, like these
to
little
popularize karate.
things, these tiny little movies that are kind of like that. People are kind of doing on the fringe, doing because they want to. They really do help inform bigger movies like The Karate Kid. And I also did like the DIY style, like we talked about. It reminds me of an old Sam Raimi and Friends movie where they're just... some guy's got a camera, some guy's got a script. They're just getting together and making a movie. So
Inspiring.
yeah. So The Instructor, even though The Karate Kid I think is a better movie and more must-see, blah, 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 watch The Instructor. You'll have yourself a good time. Get together with some buddies. Watch that movie.
Yeah.
Here, here.
All right. All the dust is settled during our dojo war. We showed those...
Hiya!
Hiya! What are the Butternut Boys?
Oh, the hula hoop.
Those
boys.
hula hoop boys,
Yeah.
they're gonzo.
Showed them.
They're not going to mess with us
Get a fucking
anymore.
body bag.
We beat them at the All Valley. We threw them off a cliff. We got in a chainsaw fight with them, and they're donezo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no more dojo wars here anytime soon.
I dismembered their corpses.
Yeah, that was good.
What do we got coming down the pipe next time, Mitchie?
It's Japanuary in High and Low Town. That's the special time of year when we visit our friends in the Far East and take some time to appreciate Japanese cinema. On the next episode of the podcast, we'll be
Expect
taking
more Japanese accents from us.
Well, I love Japanese cinema so much.
Who knows, sucker? Maybe I'll make an appearance next time, too.
I'm from the Japans.
I'm from the Far East.
This fool wants to be shogun. I just want to sail my boat.
On the next episode of the High and Low podcast, we're going to take a look at the 1979 Japanese Academy Award Best Picture winner, Vengeance is Mine, directed by Ozu protege Shohei Imamura.
Nice.
Then,
Right up my alley.
we're going to check out 1969's The Horrors of Malformed Men from Japan's King of Cult, Teruo Ishii. So join us next time on the High and Low podcast. We'll be doing a little Japanuary.
Well, until next time when we're talking about those movies, if this has been something you enjoy, why don't you tell a friend? Find somebody you know. Show them something that'll bring a bit of joy into their world. This world is so bleak. We need to laugh, don't we, folks?
Yeah, if you have any friends running around with their weird tracksuits on and a big dumb head of hair, tell them about the podcast.
Give them a karate chop. If you got any friends who like taekwondo, give them a karate kick in the head.
Yeah, don't tell them about this episode, but tell them about other episodes.
Yeah.
Karate and taekwondo folk don't get along.
Yeah, if you got any friends that, if they're doing anything other than karate, then explode their testicles in their hand.
Yeah.
And don't tell them about the podcast. We don't want them to know.
Give them a twist. Give them a...
We just have to stop them from breeding.
If you want to just go and befriend a 15-year-old and teach him how to defend himself, this podcast is great to just throw on in the
You can
background of
do
your
that.
dojo. Maybe he likes to listen to something while he's waxing all your cars.
Yeah, this podcast will draw in any young teenage boys you have in the area.
Yeah.
Just play it on a loudspeaker and like the Pied Piper of Hamelin. They'll come inside.
And
And nothing untoward will happen
It's
there.
going to be just like the Luke's little video game galaxy place that he used to hang out with.
Exactly.
Ain't nothing bad's going to happen there.
Just make sure the rival podcast playing creep from the other side of town doesn't also do the same thing.
Yeah.
In which case you have to explode his testicles and destroy his loudspeaker.
We're a pro testicular explosion podcast, and if you know any people who also like that sort of thing, tell them. Then you can also follow us on all of our socials, the High Low Movie Show on everything. Until next time, when we're gonna celebrate Japanuary. This has been High and Low. I'm Vaughn.
I'm Luke.
I'm Mitchell.
Smell you later.
Bye.
Hi.
For the first time in my life, I'm not full of fear. 'Cause I know I can trust you when you say you'll always be near. Yes, love came slowly for us.